Hi YouTube, welcome to Pagan Perspective. This is Megan, aka Sabirasri. Today is Thursday and we are talking about responsibility. So the question is all about, do we as pagans have a responsibility greater than ourselves, right? To others, to the world, to Mother Earth, all of that. What are our responsibilities or duties, if we have any or not? So this is the perspective that we're talking about today. So for me, I believe that as human beings, we do have a responsibility. I believe that we are a species on this planet who has mastered certain technological, I wouldn't even call them advancements, because I think it could be argued whether or not they're actually advancing the planet or not. I think that we have certain technological abilities and we have certain communicative abilities, like communication abilities, that are different than the world around us. And I wouldn't even say that they're better. I think that some animal species communicate in maybe even more advanced ways than we do. I think, though, that we are unique on the planet, and our position on the planet is that what we do impacts the rest of the world. Every action that we take as human beings as a whole impacts the planet. And I believe that that comes with responsibility. I think the old saying is, with great power comes great responsibility. And it is, it's power. Positive or negative, however you want to view it, what humans have on this planet is power. And so when I look at, as human beings, what we're doing to Mother Earth and what we're doing to this planet, positive, negative, everything in between, it's powerful. It's very powerful. And I think that we often don't wield it very well. I think that we could be making choices that might use that power for a more beneficial way to Mother Earth. And I do feel like as pagans, we are called in some ways to shepherd in that call to protect Mother Earth. So as I've mentioned on the channel before as well, I am also Ganesatake. I am Mohawk, and that is something that's very important to me. And we are land protectors, in particular the women. We protect the land, we protect the water, and those are things that are very crucial and central to my culture and my beliefs. And I do feel a deep, deep responsibility to our mother and what happens to her. Now, judgment, though, on other people around us who don't do that. I think that the world is full of judgment, and I think that the less we can judge, the better. And I think the more that we just focus on ourselves and what we can do to better ourselves, the better. I saw this beautiful litmus test that somebody wrote about, and I thought it was such a great way to describe responsibility. And it is the shopping cart, or I guess in some places maybe the buggy or the trolley. I'm not sure how you might refer to this, but it is the oftentimes metal or plastic cart that you bring into a store in order to do shopping. Now, these carts, shopping carts, buggies, whatever you want to call them, they usually have some sort of station in which you return them to, or they're intended to be returned to afterwards. Usually this is in the parking lot where the cars are, and you are supposed to return them to this central location so that other people can get them and they're not all over the parking lot hitting other cars and causing damage and things like that. And so now some places have sort of gone above and beyond this, where they require you to put money into the cart in order to use the cart, and then as you return it, then you get the money back. Well, that sets up a external check and balance. So it takes away the personal responsibility. I'm talking more about the stations in which it's just open and you can just grab a cart and you can choose whether or not to return it to the station or not. to me, and what I read about, it was beautiful because the returning of the cart is a litmus test for how we approach life and how we approach our personal responsibility to the earth and to each other and the world around us. There's nothing that's going to happen to you if you don't return that cart. Nothing is going to, no one's going to arrest you. No one's going to really shame you or judge you. We don't publicly stone people who don't return their carts, and we don't put up flyers with their faces or anything like that. Maybe someone might give you a dirty look. Maybe. For the most part, though, people will ignore you, and it won't even be something that anyone would even remember about if you did not return that cart. And yet, if you return it, you don't get anything for it. It's not like you get, a applause or reward or anything else if you do return it, other than the knowledge that you did what you were supposed to do, that you participated in culture and society and community. That is what returning the cart is. It is doing something sheerly for the next person and because it helps the community and the people around you. It means that the cart isn't there hitting somebody else's car. It means that, somebody who needs the cart has a place to go to get the next one. It's about doing something bigger than yourself in order to be part of the community and have a responsibility, a social responsibility. We are social creatures. That is just how we are. That doesn't mean that everybody is very social, right? There's always exceptions to the rule. When we talk in the generalities, though, we are social creatures. And when we live in a community, there are certain responsibilities that we have as community members, and we can choose to follow them or not. What we choose, though, says a lot about us, and it says a lot about our community. And I think that one of the things we can all do is ask ourselves, do we put away the cart? And what type of person do we want to be? Do we want to be the person who puts away their cart every time, or do we not? So that happens. Now, this is just an example, and there are many extenuating circumstances when it comes to the cart analogy. There are people who physically are just not able to return a cart, depending on how far away it is from the front, things like that. So that's in no way saying if you can't return the cart, you can't return the cart, and that's not a judgment. The point is the metaphor of it. It's the metaphor of the type of person. Someone who might not physically be able to turn that cart might be exactly the type of person who would return the cart, right? It's not about the physical act. It's about how we internalize what we do for our community and the type of person that we are. And you get to make that choice. And I believe that the less we judge other people for the choices that we make, and instead put it on ourselves to be the best community member and the best version of ourselves that we can be. If we live a life that makes us proud and makes us happy, that ripples out to the entire community. Because if everybody in that community is living their best life and they're living the way that they believe would best benefit their community, well, then the community gets better. Everything gets better. So I think that instead of judgment and instead of thinking about what others should be doing in terms of responsibility, I think we need to ask ourselves, are we a returning the cart type person or not? And we take that and internalize it. We ask ourselves, who do we want to be? And are we who we want to be? And if we're not who we want to be, do we want to change that? Do we want to stay the same? Or do we have a desire to be different than who we are at the present moment? Change is one of the few constants in the universe. Change can be very good. And this idea of we sometimes think that we We don't ever want to change. Don't change. I know I've seen that written in 100 yearbooks. Don't ever change. Well, I certainly hope that I change. I hope I have changed, and I know I have. I know I've been on journeys of self-discovery, and I've changed in so many wonderful ways. And all the experiences in my life have changed me for better and for worse. And there have been tragedy, and there have been joy, and all of those things tantamount themselves to the experiences that we have in our life that mold us and change us. And we get to decide how we want to respond to that change and who we want to be. And so I say embrace it. Embrace anything that you might feel as a responsibility and say, is this something I want to take on? And if it's not, if it's a externally imposed responsibility that really has nothing to do with who you are as a person, and it doesn't fit you, well, then you let that go like water through your hand. If, though, it's something that you feel called to, if it's something that makes you the type of person that you want to be, then embrace it and don't be afraid of it. That's all. I think that's it for today. Okay, I hope that you all are having a wonderful week and rest of your week and weekend, and I will see you all next time. As always, blessed be and aloha. Bye.